All right, my man
Hello.
Mike is calling
This is a
back.
prepaid debit call from.
All right. Gunshots.
Ohio State Penitentiary. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call is from a DRC correctional facility and
All
is
right.
subject to monitoring and recording. Utilization of an unapproved
Get your popcorn
application
and
and three-way
relax. We're
calls to
about to enter
communicate
the
are
Unique
strictly
Mecca
prohibited and a
audio zone.
violation of DRC policy. Thank you for using GTL.
All
Thank you
right.
for using GTL.
Oh,
Yep.
all right. So where'd you leave off at? You're just speaking on that. Let's go.
Yeah, I left off going into the Supermax area of the prison.
Okay. And what happened there?
Okay, so I go to after that case right there of getting in a knife fight, what to do. I go to they put me in the Supermax, and the warden comes by and he tells me, "That's your second murder case. In a year and a half, you're never getting out of here. You're going to be here the rest of your life." I said, "Well, I'm doing a life sentence. There's no way in the world I'm staying back here like this, locked up in this 5x8." I said, "If you're not going to let me out in population, you need to send me somewhere where I can't go get out back out in population." He said, "That's not going to happen." I said, "Well, eventually it is, because you're going to make me get stuck on stupid, and then you're not going to like me." And, this was the warden that started the riot, basically, when we had the riot in April of 1993. It was the longest riot in U.S. history. It was, well, not to say we, but the prisoners took over the prison for 11 days, and from April 11th through the 22nd. And he's the one that started it with this, take, no compromise, it's my way or the highway, and basically it started over him when they were all coming around when TB was real bad. So they were coming around and give everybody TB shots. So they were going to lock the whole joint down that Sunday, the Easter Sunday, lock them down for Monday, and everybody that wouldn't do the shot willingly, they would call hold you down and give you the shot. And the Muslims weren't going for that because they believed that they couldn't have any alcohol swabbed on their body, and so they knew it was happening. And then on April 11th, that Sunday, that's when the riot happened. And everybody staged a fight down in the gym, a fake fight. When all the guards ran down there, they started just beating them with clubs and baseball bats and everything else. It just took I think it took about 36 or something, 38 of them hostage. And like I said, the riot went on for 11 days. So so I'm in the Supermax, and when he tells me that, I'd say about 2 or 3 months after that, they just opened up Mansfield, a new prison, and they just opened up they had a new control unit there. So I was one of the first 5 that they sent there, and went there, and the first 5 was there, and the next day or 2 days later, they brought another 5 guys, 10, and they weren't giving nobody no property or nothing. The guys were, back then they could smoke, and they wanted their smokes, and so we were telling them, hey, they just give guys the property. Some of these guys like to smoke, and this white bearded sergeant, I'll never forget it. He stood out in front of our cells. He said, "Listen, you bitches need to get fucking fall in line. This ain't Lucasville. We don't pamper our prisoners." I said, "What? Wait, hold up. Ain't nobody disrespect you. Now we're bitches or something." So anyway, they wouldn't give nobody no property and stuff. They said that's an order of the unit manager. So another 2 or 3 days went on, and 4 days altogether, because we got there on the 4th, and on the 8th, when they come up to pass the chow up, I told him, I said, "Look, go see the unit manager, tell him that he needs to come up here and see us about this property, and if he doesn't come up, we're going to give you the trays back, but we're also going to hand you these doors." And they thought we were bluffing. So they had these big, like 300-pound steel beds bolted down into the floor in the cells. The cells were kind of big. They had a shower in them. And so when they said, no, he ain't coming to see you and do what you got to do. You know, they thought we were bluffing. So we kicked the beds out, you know, how you kick them and loosen up the bolts. And we got them out on the floor and rammed the doors and took the doors off the hinges and came on out of the cells. And then they brought in, you know, all the guards suited up with their guns, rubber bullets, bean bags, and taser guns, and you know, all the whole little arsenal stuff, you know, tear gas and stuff like that. And so we all got in a fight with them, and they trashed us pretty good. Sent four or five of us out to the outside hospital, and then we came back. They took the beds out of the cells and put us in there without no, just a mattress. Well, I did time at the reformatory. That was in Mansfield, and when I was on the streets, I hung. When I was at Mansfield at the reformatory, I used to hang around with a guy named Tony, black guy out of Mansfield. So when we got out, me and him, we went to the halfway house together from the reformatory right there in Mansfield. And so I used to hang out with him and go over his house and stuff. So he had a little brother and all his little kids that hung around with him. So you know, I used to give him like pop money, you know, candy bar money and stuff like that. And so when I'm going to the Mansfield prison, this was in '91. Well, this, you know, last time I was in Mansfield was in 76 or 77. So all these little kids there, they all grew up. Well, some of them were working at the prison, and I remember one coming by and saying, "Hey, are you Mike Wood? You're the one that hung around with Tony?" And you know, we talked. And yeah. I didn't even recognize them. They're all adults now. And but anyway, you just go by that. So I ended up getting a zip gun and some smoker's gunpowder and some 22 rifle long bullets and everything. And I used to always get the 22s because they're rim fire. They're easier to go off rather than the center fire ones where you'd have to take like a nail and hit the middle of it. And they were all a little dangerous because they had a lot of power behind them. Anyway, but I also got a little bit of smoking, you know, a little bit of reefer, and I passed some out to some of the guys I was real cool with there. That was, you know, that broke out, you know, that fought the police with us, and some rat ended up smelling the reefer and told the administration and stuff. So they singled me out first to come in my cell and shake it down. Say, yeah, you got to go out and see the doctor. You got to pass to go see a doctor. So I'm thinking I'm going to see a doctor. But they just put me in a holding tank out there and shake my cell down. When they come out, I know they found something because they were all shook up. I had everything but the zip gun sold into my mattress. And they come out with my smoker's gunpowder with the 22s and stuff. And so then they take me out, put me in a hole in a room with a camera in it, you know, watch me 24 hours a day, and send me back to Lucasville. And then I went back to Luke, and about 6 weeks after that, from the Supermax there again, then they sent me to Lebanon, and they put me in a hole there, up on the top range by myself. And they had took two guards out of other units. One was an ex-cop, and another one was an ex-military. So they were specifically put in that block to watch me and make sure that I didn't do anything. And one of them, the ex-cop, I usually call him Pizza Face because he had all these pock marks all over his face. And every time they used to come by, he used to dog me off dog me out and stuff and look at me like I was some piece of shit or something. So one day, I stopped. I said, hey, why you keep looking at me like I'm some piece of shit or something? You know me from somewhere? And he looked like one of them guys just want to spit on me, And then he said, yeah. He says, I used to be a cop on the streets. I used to put punks like you in jail. Now I'm in here babysitting you. I said, oh, now I'm a punk, right? I said, well, listen, the next time I do something, you're going to be my victim. How you think? How you going to feel about that? He didn't say nothing. He just walked off. Well, I rocked in sleep for 5.5 months, and he was handing my tray to me one night, and I snatched his arm up through my bars and through the food slot, and put it down where he couldn't move it or he'd break it. And I reached around with my other hand and got it around the neck and choked him out. And when it came to, I had already made some rope and I tied him to my bars. And then he was like, please don't kill me. I got a wife and 4 kids. I was like, shit, all that shit you was talking earlier, the last 5.5 months, and now you crying. So I wasn't really going to hurt him real bad, but I just, hit him in the face a few times, blooded him up a little bit, his cheek, his lips and stuff like that. And I just held him for a while, and then they come in and the negotiator and stuff, they're like, would let the officer go, this and that, and that. And one of them was the unit manager, there was a negotiator, and then they put a sniper up on the roof. But I knew they couldn't snipe me because I was standing behind him. So I knew they were going to try that. But they had one up there. And the unit manager kept saying, would let him go, let the officer go. And then I said, man, since I'm tired of hearing you run your fucking mouth, man. I said, look, I'm going to let the officer go. You come on in and take his place. He said real fast, he said, Wood, I ain't going to lie to you. I ain't coming in. I said, well, he ain't coming out. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of my block. And so I held it for about another hour, and then I just cut him loose and let him go. And he fell down on the floor, and they put him on a stretcher, took him out. There wasn't nothing really wrong with him but a bloody lip. That's about it. And then they did their little torture thing. They whooped me real good and stuff, which I had that coming. And sent me out to outside hospital. I had cracked ribs and a few other, black eyes and fractured nose and stuff like that. But it goes with the program, knowing that you're doing something like that, they're always going to get their get back. And then they kept me up there for about another few more months, shaking me down every day, moving from cell to cell every day. Cleared the whole block out. I was the only person in that block for like 5-6 months, and then they sent me back to Lucasville. And from there, I got a zip gun in, got some bullets, which they took us all out the block one day, and they were shaking the block down and stuff. And then they found my zip guns and stuff, so they were shook up about that. So what they did was, the warden came down there, and now they're saying, we're going to make sure that you never do anything. And what they were doing was they were building a special cell for me. So at the end of the range, they had a cell, and they were literally welding bars in between the bars, where you couldn't even get your pinky out the bars. And then they put food slide and everything, a lock on them, and the lock on the food slide and the leg chain thing at the bottom. But the door was so damn heavy that they couldn't open it. So they had to go up and do all the workings and stuff just to get the door open. And so the warden was looking at that, and he's telling me, well, we got a spot for you now. Like that. I said, well, you think that's going to stop me?
You have 1 minute remaining.
I said, matter of fact, I said, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I said, tell your guys that are working for you out there in population that we believe is working for you, I'm going to have all of their throats cut, but it's going to be on the left-hand side. So everybody that gets their throat cut on the left-hand side, you're going to know that was me sending that order out. So I sent orders out to population for this to happen, and I got up to 4 before they sent me to the ADX.
Okay, hold on. This is going to be the end of part 1. You got a minute. You going to call back so we can finish this?
Yeah, I got. I still got some time. I got one more phone call before this goes off.
All right, so call right back and we're going to finish this, all right?
All right.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you for using GTL.